Welcome back, everybody, to Fem Tarot. I'm Natalie, your international psychic medium and energy reader and healer. And how's everybody doing? Happy Sunday to everybody. This is a holiday weekend for our American fem villagers and femmies. Hope you had an amazing weekend. Spend it with family or not, depends. Rested, grilled, did all the good stuff, everybody. So I wanted to go live on Friday, but I thought, it's 4th of July. It's 4th of July. Most people are going to be on the road, going somewhere, visiting family or friends, or just celebrating, whatever it is, So I didn't go live on Friday, but here we are. And as you know, Sundays is the day where the Femme Village gathers. And today we have another fascinating reading we're going to do. So listen, we're going to take a break today from all the Diddy stuff, from all the Tyler Perry stuff, from all the legal stuff happening right now, pop culture, politics, all of it. We're taking a little break. We need a little bit of a palate cleanse. And I was talking to Kempire over the weekend, and he's the one who inspired me to do this video today on Lake Lanier. I had no idea of the history of the lake, of the energy around the lake and in the lake and what's in the lake. And there's so many things that we should look into today, and we will look into. And what's even more disturbing even is the dark history of that area of Lake Lanier, what used to be Oscarville. So we'll get into all that. I don't know. I can see from the chat. So as per usual, we're going to allow for the femme villagers to gather around and say hello to my favorite people, all of you femme villagers here. So Norma says that she used to go to Lake Lanier, and then it's interesting. We have Brenna who lives in Georgia, and she says, "I have no intention of going." So if you've been to Lake Lanier or you used to go to Lake Lanier, I would love to hear your impressions. What did you think? What did it feel like? What is going on? So many things are happening over there. And happy Sunday to you, that Aqua guy. Hello to everybody. Thank you, Val. Always good to know that things are working. Always good to know. Okay. Elle says, living in Atlanta, Georgia, almost my whole life, I'm very aware of the drowning issues at Lake Lanier and the unfortunate history that I believe is causing all of it. We'll look into it. And how this, how and why and how did Kempire inspire me is because we were talking over the weekend about everything that's happened in the last around the 4th of July. So we had Lake Tahoe, right? There was snow in Lake Tahoe. I believe a couple of people are missing. So that was really odd. Then we had the floodings in Texas. I believe 57 people were unalived because of the floodings. And then there was this. Okay, so 7 injured in Lake Lanier boat explosion, including a 5-year-old. So this is how we got to Lake Lanier with Kempire, and I thought, great. So late last night, what I did was I did a little bit of research just to look at the history, just look at what is the deal with this lake. Sorry, my hair is all over the place. I have the fan on. So if you can hear it, if it's interfering with the mic, just let me know. Okay. For you guys, I will sit in my sweat. Okay. I'm going to suffer through it if I have to, but as long as this, well, it seems that the tech is working, so we don't want to change anything. So this is how we got to today and today's video. Let's see. They all died. I'm so sorry to hear that. Hey, you made it, Alexis. You all made it. So happy to see your beautiful faces. It makes my week. It makes my day. It makes my week. So I'm going to go over a little bit. I have my notes here. I'm going to go over for people, especially people who are living in Europe or in any country in Europe or anywhere around the world. Hold on. What's going on? Okay. I have an issue with the iPad. Um, Maybe you don't know the history. So Lake Lanier is a man-made lake. It's not a natural lake. It was formed by damming the Chattahoochee River and by inundating the town of Oscarville and displacing the residents pretty much. But this is how the lake was created or formed, okay? But if you go back in history, that area, that land belonged to the indigenous people. The Cherokees lived there. And they suffered through everything that we know that they suffered through. And they were the land was taken from them. I don't remember the dates. I didn't write the dates, but I will suggest a very good podcast that I came across while I was doing my research. It's called Lights Out. It's on YouTube and on all the podcast platforms. They did an amazing job. I believe it's a true crime podcast. I actually started following them because I really loved the tempo, the research. I like the hosts. So I highly recommend that if you like true crime or you want to dive deep into this, you should follow or watch their video. So they go much deeper into the history of it. Now, back in so after that, in the area, a lot of after the Civil War, a lot of the Black population in the Atlanta, Georgia area moved to Oscarville and other towns. Okay, so they were predominantly populated by the Black people, the Black community. Now, but and it was like the majority were Black, but there were also some white people also living and coexisting and everything at the turn of the 20th century. Now, what happened was in 1912 there was a series of crimes, let's just say, that happened, or violent crimes for that matter, that seem to be okay. We don't have proof. And even when I tried to look at the archives, I went into the Atlanta something archives, wouldn't let me go in because of where I live. I'm outside the US, I guess. So I couldn't get to the archives because a lot of times, and there were a lot of conflicting information that I saw. Like, for instance, how long did it take for the flooding of that area to create the Lake Lanier? How long did it take? There was an article that said 2 years, and then a lot of other articles that I found said 6 years. So I'll go with 6 years because that was what was most prevalent when I did my research. Okay, so the going back to what I was saying, there were violent crimes, racially motivated, and mostly against the white people and women. And there was a case with a young woman who she came back from the woods and she claimed that there was a Black man, and she identified him later as well. Attempted, I'm not sure if he attempted or he actually, the R word, raped her. And that created upheaval, violent crimes, just it was awful. So already some of the Black population of Oscarville were leaving the town. But then, because there were issues with water in that area, the government decided that they needed to create a dam and a lake in order to be able to provide fresh water to this, I believe, 6 million population. Maybe this is like the current population around that area, but it was just to help with the farming. It was very much a farming land at the time, just to help with the population as well. So what they did was they offered some people, or most people did accept the offer from the government, which was a very small amount, if you will, to buy their land and their homes and for them to leave. But some people did refuse to leave, maybe because they didn't have the means to go anywhere else. They didn't have the money. They were just so attached to their homes. And some of these homes people would build with their bare hands. Back in the day, people would build their own homes. So you can imagine it's not just a sentimental attachment that they had to their homes. It was also the fact that it took years for them to create houses for their families. So the Black residents fled the area eventually. Now, there is an urban, and I will call it an urban legend because there are no facts out there. And we will ask the cards, of course, and I will take your questions in a bit. That there 700 people drowned, or they left 700 people to drown. Those were the people that refused to leave. In my rational mind, I have a hard time believing that, because that's why I went back and I checked. I wanted to see how long did it take for the lake to form and fill up, because there are the lake is not, it's not like the typical lake where it's shallow near the, near the land, and then towards the middle of the lake it gets deeper. And I'll get to that. Again, I'm talking to those of you who don't know the story, but I'm kind of jumping ahead here. Let me just say that when eventually people left, or they were forced to leave, what they did was they cut down trees that were like 60 feet high, 70 feet high, but they only cut half the trees. They got rid of like the wooden houses, anything that would get destroyed or corroded by water and eventually float up. So they tried to get rid as many things as they could, but they did leave the not the rail track, the racetrack, for instance. There was the racetrack, they just left it there. Any churches, anything that they couldn't, that they believed that wouldn't eventually come up to the surface, they left. All right. And one of the things that they left, which is the most disturbing part of the story, is that a lot of the graves and cemeteries, and I believe there were 3 cemeteries that they left untouched. The rest of the graves, the relatives, people would ask for them to be transferred somewhere else, for their loved ones and their graves to be transferred somewhere else. But a lot, especially 3 cemeteries in that area, were left there. So they didn't move any of the graves, anything. I read an article which was interesting, that they claimed, but again, there's a lot of bias, right? That's why I wanted to do my research, because it's like, depending what you read, and we know racism is still rampant, okay? So some I found very biased towards like white people, and really blaming the Black population, the Black residents, and claiming that they were the ones who refused. So pretty much insinuating it was their fault that they drowned. But then again, how did they drown? It took 6 years to fill out that lake. Okay. It doesn't make sense. But so what is eerie about Lake Lanier is not just the fact that underneath the water, you have a whole town. Granted, it's destroyed, but you've got trees, you've got town, you've got the racetrack, you've got the cemetery, the cemeteries and the graves, and a lot of other debris that was left behind. A lot of buildings and things that got corroded, including cars at the time, or carts, or whatever they were using. So It's very interesting. Now, what is even more interesting, fast forward to today, the statistics. If you look at the statistics of deaths in that lake, it's mind blowing. This is not the biggest lake in the world, and it's definitely not the most dangerous lake in the world when it comes to nature and what kind of like marine life they have or how deep it is, or because lakes, by the way, can be in my opinion, and I'm no marine biologist or expert, but lakes, by the way, sidebar, I don't swim in lakes. Okay, I do not like murky waters, green waters. I want to be able to see my feet. Okay, I want to be able to see my feet. I have trauma from when I was like 6 and watched Jaws. Okay. I've got trauma. But if you go on YouTube and you look at divers that take videos, you can hardly see like a few feet away from you. It's so dark, it's so green, and it feels like the water generally is super dense. Okay. It's super dense. Now, 700 to date. We've had over 700 deaths that have been reported in Lake Lanier. You have reports of boats exploding, just like the one on 4th of July, for instance, accidents, people feeling like someone is like pulling them down, pulling them in the water, divers reporting that they felt hands or legs or limbs or seen things while they were diving in Lake Lanier. So there's definitely a very eerie energy about it. And I'm not surprised considering the history in that area. And especially if we go back to the Native Americans and what they went through, and how Native Americans, they love and respect and hold sacred earth, okay, and where they live, the ground that they live on, ground that they built their homes. So and it was a very violent sort of uprooting, and I'm being very politically correct the way I say it because I have to be. Very violent uprooting of the Cherokees in that area. And I really believe that, and we've talked about this 1,000 times, I do believe that objects hold energy, land, earth holds energy, and that energy manifests in some way, okay? Because there's like, it's gonna, like, for instance, let me give you a simple example. When you have a crystal, all right, what we say for all of us who work with crystals is that if you lose your crystal or your crystal breaks, it means that it served its purpose. It has absorbed the energy that it has. There is no more room for this little crystal, this little stone to take on. So they break or they just disappear. Same goes with the land. This is what I mentioned a few weeks ago about what's happening collectively to the in the world, right? And I'm saying Gaia is reacting, Earth is reacting to this spiritual warfare, to this low vibration, to this evil and this darkness that is happening in the world. And of course, we're going to have extreme weather conditions, earthquakes, uh, volcanoes erupting, all of that stuff happening, because that's the energy has to be released. So having read and having researched a little bit Lake Lanier, I really believe the stories. There's also a story going around, and a lot of people have experienced this. There is a ghost story, all right? There is a ghostly sighting of a woman in a blue dress who apparently some people have claimed she has tried to pull them in the water. And other people have just seen her float around the lake, especially people who have been out a little bit later in the day, people have been fishing, etc. So, and apparently this, I'm not sure. Again, I try to find where that story comes from or who that woman was, but there were several stories, and one of them was like uh, the most prominent story that I read was that there was a woman who was drunk or tipsy. She was driving a VW, a Volkswagen, and she couldn't see the road, and she fell into the lake and drowned. So I don't know if that's true. Let me see. No, yeah, no, it wasn't a VW, it was a Ford sedan, and it was carrying two women. I've written it down here, and this happened. She careened off a bridge, and it happened in April 1958. So pretty much 2 years after the lake opened up or was ready or was completely, full. And they've dubbed her the Lady of the Lake. So this is interesting. I would like, before we start looking into this more spiritually, I would like to ask, has anyone been at Lake Lanier? What was your experience over there? Let me see what you guys are saying. Okay, Storm. Hey, Storm. Grew up near Lake. Oh, you did? Okay, the lake's 100% haunted. This is what I was also reading under YouTube videos as well, and on Reddit. Like a lot of people who grew up in that area or who used to go and spend summers in Lake Lanier, they all said the same thing. They all said the more skeptical ones are, I believe, the tourists or the ones who visit Lake Lanier or visited a couple of times. And they're the ones who said, yeah, the energy was weird. The water is it feels dense. It feels a little bit off, but it's not haunted. So that's interesting to know that. Yes, that doesn't, no wonder things go right here. Anywhere the man, okay, puts their dirty little paws, there's always something going on. You're very welcome. Yeah, check it out. Lights Out. It's a very professional. I love that they did actual, some true crime podcasts, they don't really do, they do research, but they don't really do research, if you know what I mean. They speak all about the history in a very concise and clear way as well. Wait, Storm says, I grew up being told you don't go to that lake and do not swim in it. Interesting. Interesting. I want to tell you this, guys. There is my I don't know, some of you might know this. My husband is from Austria, and his grandmother and his mother lived on a lake, one in a beautiful lake in between the mountains, was up in the mountains, just a beautiful place. But whenever I would visit the grandma or my mother-in-law, I would get massive migraines. And I get it, I'm not a mountain girl. I'm a beach girl. So so everyone loved the lake. It was very clear waters, very clean lake. It wasn't huge. It wasn't as huge as um Lake Lanier. But I'll tell you this. Generally, the maybe it's because it's a lake, it's not water, where you have the currents and you have the water is kind of like the recycled. It moves in different directions. It just felt eerie. I just don't like lakes. I remember my mother-in-law thought I was a snob at first when she first met me, because they would say, we're going to the lake for a swim. Yay. And I'd be like, can I stay home? Can I read my book? Can I do something else? And they'd be like, why? Because it's not like Mauritius, turquoise waters and sandy beaches. And I'm like, I just I'm psychic. I read energy. I don't like the energy. There is a lake here in Greece, actually, in Athens, in the coastal part of Athens. You guys, similar, it's a tiny little lake, but it's one of the deepest lakes in just Eastern Europe. Tiny, but very deep. So many divers have gone exploring, never came back. Never came back. Not even their bodies floated up. So I'm telling you, I am just spooked out by lakes. I'm not a big fan. And the fact that this one was man made, and worst of all, the history. Wow. Wow. So to me, it's not haunted, it's cursed, if you ask me. Okay. And before I go on, I've got this now, so I don't have to say it every time. I'll just remind you by bringing it up, you guys. All right. So what am I missing in the chat before we go on? Let's see. Sorry if I'm missing some of your comments. I believe some of Lake Lanier is over the Trail of Tears. I've been to this lake several times years ago. So it seems that a lot of you here in the chat have been to Lake Lanier at least once. Let's see. I don't know what did they use the lake for the Olympics? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not sure if you were aware, but I'm not sure my fellow residents will recall when Usher, yes, the singer, steps on. I did not. Really interesting. You guys, what lake, I didn't have time to, I should have. But do you remember what lake, what was that actress that played, she was in Glee? Remember she went out fishing with her son and she went swimming and she drowned. She couldn't get back on the boat. Do you remember who I'm talking about? Do you remember the lake? That was on a lake too. I'm just saying. Lakes, you guys, lakes are cold, by the way. They're super cold. And if it's a deep lake, you know what happens when the waters are so cold? You just lose the coordination, and also it can affect your breathing. So that's how people can also drown, by the way, in lakes, especially when the lake is super, super cold. Um, so yeah, Naya Rivera, thank you. Yes. Oh, that was in Florida. You're right. Yeah, it could have been in Florida as well. But there you go. Lakes are what can I say? They are dangerous. Yeah, if you like to swim in lakes, just be careful. Okay, just be careful. I do pass live readings. They're available on my, if you go to my website, everything is linked down below. You can, and if you want to book a reading, you will just check the past life reading. But just to let you know, you guys, because in 2 weeks I'm taking a break from readings. No, in 10 days, less than 2 weeks. So I need to I need to regenerate. I need to rest, and then we're going on vacation, holiday, etc. So the next availability I have is mid to end of September, and I don't have many slots for September if you want to book. But those are fascinating past life readings. I'm not just saying it. Okay, I'm not just selling it. It's ask anyone in the chat or anyone who's had them. Extremely fascinating, extremely validating in many things, extremely eye-opening as well when it comes to your connection to certain locations, people, why you are on the path that you are in this life. Do you have unfinished business, unfinished karma? A lot of things come up. So I'm just saying. Okay, everyone's saying that Naya Rivera drowned in California, in a lake in California. Okay, interesting. Sad, very sad, very sad, and very. That must have been very disturbing for her young son. All right. So if you guys have your questions on that area or anything you want to know, please let me know. Anna has had it. Thank you, Anna. Past life was very interesting. It is interesting. You know, a lot of things may not make sense then, but a lot of people, mm, weeks or months later, they got back to me and they said, "Wow, you know, wow, like everything just made so much sense." Past life readings are helpful. They're not just feeding your curiosity about what you were in a past life. We've all had many past lives. Only one's going to pop up during that reading, and it's the one that is relevant to you at that time when you're getting the reading. So they're very helpful. It's okay, Brenna. It's fine. All right. So I was already connecting with my guides and asked my guides for help for this reading to see what is going on in over there. So is it cursed? Is it haunted? Is it just an urban legend? What is going on? But you guys, so many people have experienced similar things and have said the same thing. That's not a coincidence. Okay. That's not an urban legend. It's not. It's not. Just saying. Okay. Unwind says, will they ever drain it? I doubt it. It's currently it's providing fresh water and it's helping the farmers in the area. And it's like it's a population of 6 million. So no, they're not going to drain it. And if they do, I would be terrified, terrified to know what's just underneath the surface of the water. So yeah. All right. So I'm going to do it. I'm not going to ask a specific question right now. I'm going to connect. I'm going to pull some cards, connect with my guides, see what comes through, and we shall see. We shall see. Storm has a question. I'll get back to you in a minute. Hold on. Oh, okay. The first thing that I saw is a bit disturbing because what I saw was back in the day, at 50s, 60s, when things were still, socially, there was still a lot of racism and a lot of segregation was still happening. Less obviously, but what I am getting is, this is not going to surprise you, but it is disturbing. Some people have been using the lake, which makes it even more disturbing that people, I'll get to that in a minute, that some criminals and bad people have been using the area and the lake as a body dumpster, like getting rid of bodies. And I'm asking my guides, why would they use the lake? I mean, the lake is huge and, there's so many divers that always like to explore. I think it's 56,000 acres or something like that. Hold on. Yeah, 56,000 acres, the whole lake. And I was shown that it's easy to get rid of things. Even like if you steal a car and you want to get rid of it, you can throw it in the lake. If it's anything that you want to get rid of, you can throw in that lake. And the reason why, especially when it comes to people, it's sort of like the preferred, I'm using quotes, way of getting rid of people, is because there's so many trees, so many things at the bottom of this lake that can actually cushion, or like things can get entangled and they wouldn't like surface up. And also because there's so much debris in certain areas of that lake that a person would kind of like be camouflaged from all that's the first thing that I saw. So there is darkness there. I'm also what they're pointing at right now, what they're showing me is the woods. Let me bring this up real quick. So this is what it looked like, okay, back in the 50s. And this is what it looks like recently. I don't know when this was taken, but look at this. Like, it's huge, amazing, green. It looks beautiful though. And this is the map. I wanted to show the map of Lake Lanier. And let me see real quick. You can see how big and vast the whole area of Lake Lanier, and then you have the river as well. So, Light Mission, I don't think the sage is going to work with that lake. I don't think sage is going to do anything with that lake. We would have to burn a whole. No, we don't. We don't. I'm saying we would have to burn a whole forest of sage for it to work or for it to do anything. So what I was saying now, I'm being pointed at the woods, and even the woods, you guys, I'm seeing there's a lot of energy and a lot of different beings living in the woods as well. Are the Appalachian Mountains nearby? Why did I hear the Appalachian? I mean, is it in the area? Can someone let me know? I think Storm, you're from the area. Why am I getting? Because I'm getting the same kind of vibe as the Appalachian Mountains, and we all know that the Appalachian Mountains have a very unique, powerful energy. There's a lot happening over there. It's like, I also believe a lot of like extraterrestrials and a lot of things are happening there. It's sort of like, you know how we have Femme Village and we meet every Sunday, sometimes during the week as well. Well, it almost feels like it's like a hotspot for entities and spirits and ETs and whatnot. So for them to be taking me to the Appalachian Mountains and also showing me the woods, I believe the whole area is not just the lake, the whole area has a very, very strong dark energy. It is dark. It is very much dark, the energy. Again, the history, think about it. If you don't respect the land, if you don't respect the people that belong on that land, you know, that energy is going to be absorbed, and that is going to come out one way or another sooner or later. And this is what I believe is happening. I'm just going to come out and say it because I was shown. So I don't know when this is going to happen, but I do see there is going to Lake Lanier is going to come back to the limelight, if you will. People talking about whether it's haunted or what is going on in the area, because I was shown that there is going to be another boating accident as well, but this time it feels like it capsizes. So I don't know if it hits something and then it capsizes, but some people won't be able to reach back or to get to anything to help them from drowning. And it feels like this is going to be a mass, like a lot of people. When is this going to happen? I'm just hearing next eclipse or during an eclipse. So I don't know. I'm just saying what I'm picking up right now. But I don't want to just try to find out more information about that. Let's see. Christina says a lot of native energies. I feel the natives put a protective shield of some sort. Yes, absolutely. And I don't know. Why don't we give them back their land? Why don't we give back their land? It's not ours, ours as white people. It's not ours. But that's a whole different discussion. I don't want to make this because some people, not us here right now, but some people get upset. So much trauma and so much spiritual. There is a lot of spiritual activity as well. So let me see what else I pick up about that. Oh, this is spooky. This is spooky. So, for anyone who has been to the lake or is going to the lake this summer, who knows, or for the weekend or whatever, let me tell you this. There was the drowning of a little boy years ago. I believe this was in the 80s. Um, and this little boy's soul is still around. It's still around. So what I'm being shown is that people who swim, who are swimming or just chilling, sometimes they will hear his voice. They will hear the voice of a little boy talking to them. It's not, I cannot make out what he says, but it almost feels, it's not, it feels, it almost sounds like he's saying it in melodic way, like good morning, this kind of, I don't know how you say it, but this kind of like hello, my name is John, sort of like melodic. It's not like a, so they could hear it, and some people confuse it as maybe someone's listening to some kind of music next to them, but I'm just seeing there is the soul of a boy, or at the lake, at the lake. I also believe this blue lady, that blue, how do they call her? Blue dress. No, whatever her name. Yeah, blue lady, I think. Lady of the lake, sorry, with a blue dress. Um I'm feeling this is not an urban legend. This is not just something that's not true. I believe that there is the soul and the spirit of a woman there. She shows up to men though, not women. She shows up mostly to men and not women. Interesting. But that little boy, I feel him. I can actually hear him right now. There's a little boy. And this little boy actually is a little black boy. I'm just gonna say, so I don't know if he is. I'm getting the 80s though that he passed. It wasn't back then. It wasn't back in the 50s, 40s when all of this was happening. Um, but he's got a singing voice. Singing voice. So, and people who just go to Lake Lanier to swim or just spend their holidays there, some can hear him, can hear him. All right, this is so random. Again, I love my guides. I love what I do because sometimes random things come. By the way, don't be surprised if at some point in the future, whoever, maybe it's divers, maybe they're looking for something else and they find it, but they will find loot from, and I know it's far away from Chicago and back from, when there was the, what's it called, when you had, oh, what was the head mobster? My brain just, back in Chicago, in the 20s, prohibition. Anyway, so I'm getting that there are some big boxes, but not in the deep parts. This is the interesting part. Not in the deep parts of the lake, but I do see these boxes with loot or money or incriminating evidence, I guess, that I'm hearing the mafia, the mob. We're talking about Atlanta, Georgia now. So I don't know what the connection is. Maybe there was mob activity there, but this is what I'm getting. But someone will come across one of them. So, and you heard it here first. Okay. When the news breaks, you heard it here first. Very random. I wasn't expecting that. And I can't see the connection, but it would be nice to see if anyone who's there. Al Capone, that's who I meant. Yeah. Al Capone. I'm not saying it was Al Capone, but I was just saying that Al Capone was in Chicago, right? So one of the biggest like mobsters or mafia were in Chicago at the time. So I don't know how what the connection is, but there is a connection. There is a connection. Oh, Lord, it's just so much. I don't know if you guys want to ask me anything about that, about the lake. I will tell you, it's very, very spiritual. It's very dark. Actually, would be interesting for anyone who wants to connect to spirit or to these souls, to these souls that perish, unfortunately, either in the lake or in Oscarville. It would be interesting to maybe do a couple of sessions there and see what comes through, which spirits come through, what they have to say, what they want to share with us. I would definitely, if I was in the States, if I was living in America in the States, I would definitely visit. I wouldn't swim, but I would definitely visit the area just to see what I'm picking up, because it's strong. Spiritual activity, very, very strong. Also, yeah, there are, you know what's interesting to me? Maybe because it's a huge lake, but it's interesting to me that the currents keep changing. And it's interesting to me because there's a dam, right? This is man-made. Yes, it's connected to the river, but there's a dam there. So, and yes, you're going to have different currents when they want to fill up the lake. When the levels go down, they will fill up the lake, but usually they will warn people before they do that, because the tide's going to go up. But what's interesting to me is that um there are a lot of strong currents there, and people feeling being pulled down. That's a force. That's a combination of currents, undercurrents, and maybe undercurrents are created because there's a lot of debris. There's still buildings down there and stuff. So maybe that's creating sort of like a little whirlwind or something under the water, which can suck people down, can create drowning, or cause, not create, cause drowning. Um, interesting, interesting. For anyone who's super spiritual and who is an empath or picks up energies, um, my guides are saying don't, unless you're protected and unless you know what you're doing and you're experienced, do not visit the lake. Do not go to the lake. And I agree with Storm's parents and family. Don't swim. Sorry, I'm not, bashing the area. I don't want to create any issues there. I mean, I'm a small channel. I can't, but I'm just saying this is what my guides are telling me. And I believe that things are gonna, I don't know why. Again, I keep seeing that boat. The boat with a lot of people. One of those like touristy boats that they go around and they kind of show them around. Well, um, I'm getting the number 36. Okay, just make a note of it. I'm getting the number 36. So whether it's 36 on board, 36 people that perish, I'm not sure, but I'm getting the number 36. Uh, oh, I would, but I know how to handle it and I know how to connect and disconnect. But for someone who's not experienced and you're an empath, or you're a psychic who hasn't done, or a medium who hasn't done development, don't. Okay, don't go visit haunted places or very, very spiritually potent places or energetically potent places with someone who knows. Okay, someone who knows what they're doing and how to connect, how to disconnect, how to protect yourself. This is all I'm saying. Actually, I would love, like, I'm definitely visiting the States sometime soon, as soon as things calm down over there. Um, And yeah, obviously I'll be going to New York. I'll be with Campfire, and then going down to California and see some of my friends there and family. But it would be interesting because Psychic Jamie used to do paranormal investigation. So we said that when I fly over, that we'll definitely do a couple of investigations, and we'll obviously record and everything. And I can't wait. I've never done it like officially. I've done it in my own homes, because every home that I've lived in, most of my homes have been haunted, literally, literally. Okay. So I did my own paranormal investigating my own homes. Officials publish, know it is haunted. Why don't they stop people from going? Because they make money. They make money. Somewhere I saw the statistics. I didn't write them down, unfortunately, how much money they make yearly, annually from people who visit the lake, tourists, foreigners, people who visit the lake. They do retreats there. They have all sorts of activities. So, yes, I believe officials and politicians, if they've been there, they know it's haunted. They know it's cursed. And actually, it's cursed. It's cursed. And I'm not saying it's the Native Americans that cursed it, but when you harm people, when you harm a big group of people or animals or anything that is a living being, all right, you're asking for karma. You're asking for bad things to happen there. So, of course, they know. In my opinion, they know, but they make money. Why should they kill the cash cow? Right? Oh, well, I can imagine as a mom, you would do anything to find answers and get closure. Did they find were they able to recover Usher's son? Maybe we should do it a group thing. Like the Femmies, we go, actually, when I'm over there, we're gonna be doing a live show with Campfire. Just so you know, get ready. We're gonna do live show, and maybe we can do something like that together. Maybe we can all meet somewhere so we can do. I can give you live readings to you, to all of you who are gonna be there, and then just go to some kind of haunted location or somewhere where there's a lot of spiritual activity, and just be together and just go exploring. That is a good idea, actually, come to think of it. What causes the many drownings? The spiritual activity, the debris of all of it, all of it. In my opinion, it's all of it. It is the spiritual activity. It is the debris. It is, again, the undercurrents, the cold water, the fact that it can be, it goes from shallow to deep suddenly, and then it's shallow again, and it's not even that it's shallow. It could be that you're stepping on a tree stump, or you could be on a rooftop of a church or something. So that can also, and you guys think of it this way: if you were in the water, in the ocean, right, and you were swimming, and suddenly you felt something, and it's not shallow waters; these are deeper waters, and you suddenly feel something on your feet or the butt. Aren't you going to panic? Aren't you going to panic? Aren't you going to think, "Oh my God, it's a shark, it's a catfish, it's something"? And maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a tiny little fish that just gave you a peck, or maybe it could be seaweeds floating around. It's happened to me where I screamed like a baby. Okay. Screamed like a baby because of a damn seaweed floating next to me. I thought it was like, I don't know what I thought. It was a snake. I don't know what I thought, but it screamed like a baby. It was embarrassing. Embarrassing. So it could be anything: can create panic, cold water, you're not breathing the same way that you are. All of it. It's all of it. All it's a recipe for disaster. It is like I don't want to say a portal, but I would say like a dark hole. Like that's the better synonym. It is like a dark hole. Okay. So all of the energy, the spiritual activity, the history, the just the lake, the way it's been, the way it is, what's underneath, what's under the surface, all of it is what is causing all of these drownings. It's a combination, lethal combination. That's why if you visit Lake Lanier, Go grab a beer. Go have a coffee. Go for a hike. Go for a walk. Avoid, in my opinion, stay safe, people. Uh, oh no, that makes me so sad. So it seems to be like a silent drowning. Yeah. Yes, we're having a US meet and greet for sure when I come over. Of course, you guys. Of course, you guys. And I will do probably, I might also, another thing that we, just my thoughts, okay, nothing official yet, but I trust you and I tell you everything. So, again, Campfire is going to be in Europe in the next, in fall. And he is planning a live show. I'm not going to give away his plans yet, but I might be joining him. All right. I might be joining him as well for my for our European femmies, but US definitely will be doing something. We'll be doing a live read, live meet and greet. We'll have so much fun. But I'm just waiting. I'm just waiting for July and August to be done because, I've told you this before and I've given you a heads up. Lots going to happen. I mean, a lot has been happening since the beginning of the year, since last year, but the beginning of the year. But I'm just waiting to see what happens because right now with everything, and I don't want to be detained by Border Patrol and say, show me your phone, all right? And then they go on my YouTube channel and they see me talking about Trump or whoever, and then they're like, girl, go back home. We don't want you here. Possible. It happened actually. It did happen to someone, not to someone I know, but someone I know. Their relative went to, I believe, San Francisco. So they left from, where did they fly from? Germany. So they flew from Germany to San Francisco. They checked his phone and they saw one meme, one Trump meme. He's not pro or against anyone. Okay. He's German. They saw one Trump meme that someone sent to him on his WhatsApp. He was in trouble. So I'm like, what is going on? We can't even come to your country now. All right. Orchid says tons of missing people have been recovered in the canals in my area. There's a recent young that went missing. Oh, that makes me so sad. What was that? I almost drowned in a whirlpool. See, and yes, if a location or area has a lot of activity and very strong spiritual and history and spiritual energy, if you will, yeah, it can create whirlpools. It can create, the waters are just different. It's just, again, not safe. I know. It's never too late, you guys. You're always welcome to greet and let me know when you're here. When you're here, it's beautiful. And we're expecting a heat wave the next couple of days. So that's not going to be fun because it's going to be a bad one. But luckily, we've all got AC. Let's hope that the power grids hold. And we don't have power outages during a heat wave because that's not going to be good. All right. Alexa has a question. Anything specific regarding the ETs you noticed in the woods around the lake? No, I didn't notice the ETs, but I do believe that they visit the area, just like the Appalachians, and any. Have you noticed that ETs, a lot of these sightings happen around where mountainous areas? Even here in Greece, there was a mountain here in Athens, which the very, very spiritual, a lot of energy there, they do a lot of rituals on that mountain, a lot of satanistic stuff as well have happened there, crimes, you name it, but very powerful energy. And I can tell you a lot of sightings, a lot of people have seen UFOs, UAPs, however they're called now, there. It seems that the pattern is that they do prefer mountainous areas, and anywhere where it's like, heavily, like wooded areas, heavily wooded areas as well. Maybe it's because just to keep lay low. But trust you me, and we've said this before, it's just a matter of time, very short time, until they reveal themselves to us. And we're going to be seeing more and more, and more people will come out in public and share their experience and what they witnessed. So be ready. Be ready for that. Campfire, I was just talking about you. I always do. But I was just saying about that you were the one who inspired me for this video, and that hopefully I'll be over at the US soon so we can also do our live show together as well. You meet aliens all the time here in New York. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I could name a couple. All right. So Roswell as well is another area as well. There is just it's and unfortunately, when things pick up energetically, collectively, unfortunately, we will see a lot more exits. Souls will be exiting the earth plane, whether deliberately or suddenly. Okay. And the reason for that is because some of these souls, the newer souls, need to exit in order to allow for the older souls and the ascended beings and the higher beings to come and help humanity and the collective, especially during the spiritual warfare going on. So we're going to be seeing, we're already seeing it, a lot of these weird stories coming up. And I mean stories like they're in the news, they are being printed in newspapers, like, but they seem weird, right? So this weirdness is going to get even more amplified. But what we considered weird, but now things are becoming more normal for us. See how things are being eased, like even with the ETs, they want to make sure that we're more desensitized and we're more ready before they show up and they say, ta-da, hey neighbor, I've been here all along, you know um so a lot more of these weird occurrences are going to be happening. So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. What does it say about Area 51 near Vegas and the ETs there? Oh, I 100% believe that the whole area, it's it's like a concentration, like that's the best word. It's like a concentration camp for aliens, really. Like they listen, they do reverse engineering, they learn so much over there. And I truly believe it. It's not fictional. I don't think it's a Hollywood thing. It's not, life imitating art or art imitating life. I do believe the area there is a major significance in that area. And the desert, overall deserts and mountains seem to be areas where just generally there's a lot of activity, whether it's alien activity or spiritual activity. You see that a lot. uh Paulette says, my mom's from New Orleans. She said she was abducted by aliens when a child, but they said she has to go back to she wanted to stay because it was beautiful. If you haven't watched my Minds and Psychic Jamie's interview with Dolly, forget her name, Dolly and Preston Dennett, um, go watch it. She is a little bit, I will say it, she is abrasive. Okay, she is abrasive, but please don't allow for abrasiveness to get in the way of listening to what she has to say and paying attention to what she has to say. She's an abductee. as well. She's also psychic. She claims she's psychic. She claims to read our minds. It was really funny because before we started the interview, she was late. Okay, so the three of us were waiting for her, and as soon as she sat down, I was like, "Hey, Dolly, hi, nice to meet you." And she's like, "I'm psychic too. I can read your mind. So be careful. What are you thinking of?" I was like, "Okay, nice to meet you." Anyways, but that shouldn't deter you guys. Didn't deter me from doing the interview, but that shouldn't deter you. Have to listen because Preston has written 36, I believe, 37 books. He has done thorough research. He does thorough research. This is his job. So highly recommend if you guys want to know, because what you're saying, Paulette, what your mom says very much tracks with what Preston and Dolly have said and said. So yeah, there are themes around water because water, we learned at school, right, that water is a good conductor for electricity. Well, what is energy? Energy is just like electricity. So water is a good conductor for energy, which is why a lot of like limestone, which is formed by water or near water or bodies of water. Limestone, it is anywhere that there's limestone or homes that are built on limestone or with limestone, whatever, they absorb energy and they can be haunted, just so you know. Just so you know. So yes, it's normal and natural for places near water or bodies of water for them to be to have a lot of activity and spiritual activity. I love your honesty, Alexis. We will do. We talked about it with Jamie. We said we're going to do it just with him because she wouldn't let him talk. She wouldn't let him talk. I hate having guests over my channel and just, I'm not bashing her, but she was abrasive. She was. I was like, literally, she even told me off about like I was like, biting my tongue. I was biting my tongue. I'm like, listen, I'm the host here. I have to be polite. If I was on her channel, you guys, I would have barked back. I wouldn't care. But yes, we've talked about it with Jamie. We want to bring just Preston because she wouldn't let him talk. She wouldn't. Like I had so many questions. She wouldn't. If you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. But it's still interesting to watch. You guys just watch it if you can stomach it, if you will. I'm being honest too. So yeah. I know. Yeah, I know. Like Jamie and I, after we were done, we're like, huh? Yeah. Anyways, yeah, she kept cutting him off. It was just a thing. But yeah, we will just have him because he's such a sweet energy, and so in the know. Just that I've lived here for years, this is not how the folks feel. That's what I read online too, that the locals at Lake Lanier do not see it that way. What can I say? Let me just say we did the Amityville horror reading, channeling with psychic Jamie. And what's interesting is that I didn't know that. I didn't know that the most recent owners of the home, the ones that live there now, have said that there is no activity whatsoever, but the house was haunted. Granted, a lot of these stories were exaggerated. You just go watch the video and you'll see what I mean about the Amityville horror house. But it's interesting. I believe that if you live there or if you live in a haunted home, and I've lived in a haunted home, you get used to it. It's just normal. You just don't pay attention to it anymore. I had a in all of my homes, but I had one who was extremely aggressive. This was in Austria when I was living in Austria, and I was pregnant, and then I just had Amelie, my first child, my daughter. And let me tell you, I got used to having him around and for him to scream in my ear, um, slam doors, like misplaced things that I would leave, like mascara. For instance, I would be in the bathroom putting on my mascara. I remember putting the mascara right next to the sink, right at the, and I would pop out, come back in again to do my hair, and no mascara. I'm just saying at some point or other you get used to it and you don't pay attention to these things. So I can see why the locals and people living there don't see it that way. I do. They love it. It's a beautiful area. But again, me knowing the history, I wouldn't, I wouldn't feel comfortable living there. That's me. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, just the dark history of that place, awful. Yeah, you should. And I know you're gonna voice my mommy later, going, "Oh," he's got an evil laugh. Sometimes can so funny, makes me laugh. But yeah, you've got to watch it. She's, oh Lord. Okay, has been growing. Oh, I'm happy to hear that. Meta is building an HQ here, and the port in Savannah, the third largest in the U.S., is being expanded. Will the state of Georgia, be seeing a lot of growth in the near future? Okay, I love that about Georgia. Okay, let's hope so. Let's see. That's a good question, Storm. Are they creating like you said the GA film industry? I closed my eyes because that's the first thing that I wanted to focus on is like the film industry, because generally the film industries right now all over the world are not doing great. But instantly I saw like what's it called? What's the Indian Hollywood called? Oh my God, where's my brain freeze? Bollywood. That's duh. Okay. Bollywood. Instantly they like I saw Bollywood. So I believe they're trying. So that's two things. I believe that they are trying to do create their own little, like very separate to Hollywood and other indie industries. But what I do see is creating sort of like a Georgia, maybe even it's more the Black community, maybe it's more so, but creating something equivalent to the Bollywood, if that makes sense. And the other thing is Bollywood is extremely successful. It makes billions annually, billions. It is one of the most lucrative industries, film industries in the world. Bollywood, Indian film industry, and they produce movies like they produce cupcakes, like we produce cupcakes. It's crazy. So I do, to answer your question about the film industry, I do believe this is going to be extremely successful. It is going to help the state and the area financially. All right. It's going to really help people. It's going to provide jobs for a lot of people. So that is positive. But let me look at Meta. HQ here in the port in Savannah is being expanded. I'll pull some cards for Savannah, Georgia, Savannah. Hold on. King of Swords. Georgia means business. Georgia means business. 9 of Wands. Uh-oh. 4 of Swords. When did all these start? Was this, I don't know, it seems like maybe because of the current political climate. I'm seeing some challenges. 4 of Swords. Oh, you guys, there's a lot of corruption. A lot of corruption. There's corruption everywhere. This is not new. But even here, people are trying to put their hands in the honey pot. Storm. I believe there's a lot of shady business happening there with that port. And specific, I'm talking about that the port especially. I believe here there's a lot of political stuff, a lot of money changing hands and stuff. There's corruption, and I believe this is all going to come out. It's going to be a disaster. Ouch. Death. Yeah. Maybe someone should investigate. What are they up to? What are they doing? Why are they expanding? Who's involved with this expansion is the main thing. Who's involved? What company, what entity is behind this expansion? And who are the politicians have signed off on this? This is where I would start, because it seems that things are not as they seem. All right. Yes, this potentially would be amazing, but it does look Tower and Death, you guys. Mm-mm. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, Storm. I wish I had better news. What video is this? I remember what it's called. I think it's called Extraterrestrial Encounters. Search bar, extraterrestrial encounters. Use this search bar, it will come up. There's an alien on it, so you can't miss it. Everyone's gonna go watch that video now just to watch Dolly be praised. I tell you, if this wasn't me, it wasn't on my channel and me hosting, me and Jamie for that matter, you guys, I would have cut that short. But I'm very gracious. I'm polite. I have manners. And if you are invited over at my home, I'm not going to kick you out, but I'm never going to invite you back. Okay. There's a big tax credit for film industry. Ah, uh-huh. Everyone's like, Bollywood. Yeah, I found the word eventually on my own. But thank you guys for helping. Yeah, it's a great question, actually. Governational race is coming up what is that? I don't know what that is. Government fund support. Yeah, I see the government, but the government, that's why I said with this current political climate, I don't, to be honest, I don't think they're going to finish this port, the expansion. From what I see, they're not going to, not with this government. Nothing to do with Trump. Again, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying right now with this current political environment, with who is the current president, what I'm seeing, this expansion is not going to ever finish, for that matter, because they're going to run out of money. Where did the money go? I wonder that. It'll give you views and make us laugh. Yeah, well, if you guys watch it, just add laughing emojis or whatever under that video, under those comments, just so I know that you came from this. That. So funny though, so funny, because like both Jamie and I were really trying to keep it together. We really were. Jamie is she's a Pisces. She's a lot more easygoing than I am. Like, she's like, yeah, okay, it's okay. We can do. I'm not like that. I'm not like that. So, okay, what did I miss? Did I miss another question? Current tariff issues possibly involved with the port. Oh, yes, we have the tariffs. I forgot about that. Yep, 100%. You're right. But I think they're going to run out of money. That's what they usually say, right? It's like, well, this project, and then they always wait, when they eat, they consume and they take all that money. Then what they do is they slow things down for the next government to take over. And then when they take over, they're like, what have they been doing here? So they get all the blame. The next one is going to get the blame. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and what's going to happen. You heard it here first. Yeah, Jamie is chill, 100%. No, sorry, Light Mission. Love you. We'll talk about it next week. I really want to take a break from Diddy. I really, really do. The only thing I'm going to say is what I said to my community post. I was disappointed, you guys, just as you were, especially because, I myself, I'm a survivor. I've been essayed. So, and I just know how difficult this was for these women, okay, to face that evil monster. But let me just tell you this, and we'll talk about this deeper. It's not over. It's not over. It's not over. I've said this and I stand by my predictions. I saw 18. It could be, listen, you guys, it could be 18 months. Okay. It could be 18 months, but I saw him behind bars. I saw 18. It could be 18 months. It could be 18 years. But the reason why I believe it's 18 years is because last year, if Kempire is still here, we did the reading and I did several other readings and I kept seeing that he's not coming out of jail alive, out of prison, out of prison alive. Make your own conclusions with that. I'm just telling you what I saw. It's not over yet. I also seeing psychically that he is, and we know that we have lawsuits dropping here since last week, I believe, a couple of weeks against Diddy. I believe the feds have more. They made a lot of mistakes. And I do believe there was RICO. But the thing is, the fact that what saved, you might laugh, okay? This is my intuition. What saved Diddler from getting the RICO, the racketeering charge, is the fact that he didn't testify. And I believe that maybe the prosecution was kind of hoping that he would. One of the reasons why Diddy got away with it is because of what he knows and who he knows. If he had been convicted for the RICO charges, he would have sang like a canary, and he will. He will. It's not over yet. It's not over yet. You think that as soon as he comes out of jail, prison, whenever that is, that he's gonna be, yo, Puff, what? Let's create an album. Let's do more freak offs. You think that he's gonna gather with his friends? Celebrity friends, they're out. They jump ship like rats jump out of a sinking ship, right? This is what's happening. He's going to be on his own. And you know what? His narcissistic, evil little mind he's not going to like it, and he's going to react to it. And then he's going to start exposing a lot of people. And then guess what's going to happen? This is what I'm seeing. And I've done a ton of readings on Diddy. And I've said energies do change, but I do believe the final outcome doesn't change. We'll get there eventually. So these are my thoughts of what's happening. It's not over until it's over. I guarantee you it's not over. And yes, 3rd of October, it's his sentencing. Let's wait and see. Some lawyers, Kempire has an amazing collab with this amazing lawyer from California, I believe, from LA. And some lawyers believe he's just going to get some months and then time served and blah, blah, blah. So he'll be out within a couple of years. I don't think so. My feeling, and I connected to the judge's energy after the court, I think it was after the deliberations. And I just feel that this judge, he's as fair as can be, okay? And I believe this judge is going to send a message. He's going to send a message to the jury too. To the jury. Didn't I say, I said I'm not going to talk about him, but now you got me all lined up. Okay, didn't I say that the jury, go back and listen to what I said about the jury. I did say two jurors were the troublemakers. I used the word troublemakers because those were the ones that weren't friggin' budging. And guess what? Next day, they went back 2 days away from 4th of July, and guess what happened? So there's more. We're going to be talking about this man, evil man, for a very long time, unfortunately. Jay-Z's next. We're going to do a Jay-Z one. You might sue me. Who knows? Anyone who talks about Jay-Z now, he sends his hounds and he's shark lawyers to silence people. Why? What do you have to hide? Why? And he can't sue me because I'm a reader. I just read the cards, right? Nothing. I just read energy. I don't know. I don't know facts. Nothing is factual. I'm just reading the cards. So try it. So yeah, they're all going down. They're all going down. The Diddler trial, the Diddy stuff. It's just the beginning. It's just the first domino brick that's just fallen. The rest are following. The rest are coming, and we're going to be talking. We're going to be covering a lot, all of it if possible, all of it. And we still have the Tyler Perry stuff to see where that's going. Then we still have the Baldoni Blake stuff, and I'm so fed up with that woman. I am like, I can't with her. She is now after content creators like Candace Perez Hilton, Andy Signor, which I respect immensely. Popcorn Planet, I've talked about him before here. I respect his journalism and the way he covers things. He tries to be as fair as possible. Some people may not like him. He's a typical Leo. He's such a Leo. He's loud, he's domineering, like his energy is quite domineering. All that. I love that. I don't mind it because he is on the ball. Just saying, if you're innocent, if you have nothing to hide, why are you going against? This applies for all of these people. Why are you going against content creators? Why? They're doing their job. We're all doing our job here. We're all doing our job. My job is to read cards and be a psychic. Campires is to report on pop culture and music and reality TV. Andy Signor too. He covers pop culture and trials and stuff. So why are you trying to silence people? Maybe you don't like the truth. Maybe the truth hurts because you've twisted the truth in your head, because that's what these celebrities, these powerful people do. They create their own reality. And that's why they sleep well at night. They sleep well at night because they don't see things the way that we, the normal people, people with rational thinking who are in our daily grind every day. No, they create their own little bubble because this is how they can sleep well at night and do what they do without repercussions to their consciousness. Just saying. Oh, I'm glad you. Well, yeah, he speaks facts. He gives facts. So, I enjoy his channel. I've been following him since before he had, like, he's almost at 1 mil. Like, he was like 100,000 when I started, because I truly believe that he has substance and that he does his research and he talks to lawyers, he talks to specialists, he talks to people, and he forms his own opinions. And I loved his coverage on the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard lawsuit. So, yeah. It's for entertainment purposes only, but so is Andy, so is Candace, so it's Perez Hilton. For entertainment purposes only, right? So, say what you will about Candace or Perez, doesn't matter. They're doing their job and they're doing it very well. So, yeah, and so was Diddy's. Didn't I tell you before on Monday, when the jury was deliberating, I'm like, that black magic might even get him out, like might help him. And it did. It did with the racketeering charges. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see sentencing. We will throw the card. We will do a reading before October 3rd to see, just to get a heads up what judge, I forget his name, what the judge is going to decide. But I believe it's not going to be a few months. At this right now, it doesn't feel that. I believe 4 or 5. But while he's in prison, here's the thing: say he gets 5 years of prison for the trafficking stuff and all that. While he's in prison, though, he still has to face the music and face the new charges and new lawsuits and everything else that's going to come up. I'm just telling you, he's not walking out of there. He's not walking out of there anytime soon. So don't worry. But what was disgraceful, in my opinion, was the fact that the jury was not paying attention to what the meat and the bones and the meat and the juice of the whole case was about. Okay. And you cannot dismiss women, not just women, even his PAs, the male PAs. Oh God, I'm on a rant. Okay, I'll stop. We've talked about him enough. We've talked about him, and I said I didn't want to talk about him today because I want to take a break from him. I really do. Yeah, that's it for today, you guys. I think that's pretty much, I think we've covered that. So yeah, Lake Lanier is definitely cursed slash haunted. There's a lot of activity there. Interesting place to go just to, just to connect with spirit or any soul there that has perished there. Unfortunately, it's interesting. I wouldn't mind visiting actually. I love that. Oh, don't care that Khaleesi Lively's opinion. Yeah, no one takes her seriously. Light Mission, no one takes her seriously anymore. You know who takes her seriously? She takes herself seriously. Not even her husband takes her seriously. Sorry, but not even Ryan takes her serious. Ryan is using his wife like a marionette, like a little, the master of the puppets there. Oh, enough already. Yeah, that too. But you know what? Some people just withdrew. Some people didn't last minute, as we all know. Some key witnesses and witnesses did not want to testify last minute. People are frightened. Cassie has gotten like extra security and a guard. Jane Doe, what was the other one? Gina, the other one who didn't testify. She's also frightened. Like they're all scared now. Okay. They're all afraid of their life. So it was a poor, but I don't blame the prosecution. They had to work with what they had, with that they had. And of course, they didn't bring out other celebrities and stuff because they had to prove it beyond reasonable doubt to do that. And if you're not going to have celebrities come forward and say, you know what, I was used by the diddler, or I participated in this because I felt blackmailed, or he did blackmail, or whatever it was, they're not going to, they don't, they can't prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. So that's the problem. It's just a disaster. And I don't know, there's drama with Tisa Tells now. I don't know. I am genuinely, and I've said this, remember when Kempire asked me about Stephanie Sue, Rotten Mango, I am genuinely concerned about the content creators and the independent journalists that were in court. Because if you remember, I did a reading because Kempire asked me, like, what did he mean? What did he mean when he said, "I know you" to Stephanie? And what I was shown was that he keeps a list of names, his kids, and I'm sure he has that. He has it. It was given to him by his lawyers. He has a list of names. Okay, they've been watching, his family, his crew has been watching at all of us. Anyone who covers this or talks about this, they know exactly who we are, just so you know. So of course people are going to be worried and scared and concerned, and they should be. Yes, he does, unfortunately. Yes, he does. If he had gotten life, okay, and people were sure and certain he's never coming, like what's his name, Brian Koberger from the Idaho murders, okay, if he had taken life, he wouldn't have any influence whatsoever, and people would start coming, like more and more truths would come out, okay. But now, because it's temporary, okay, as we know it, from what we know, there's a sentencing hearing. This is in October. He might get 10, he might get 5, he might get a few months. We don't know. He's coming out. Okay. This is what we know. The world knows. So, of course, he has influence because he knows he has power, and he still has money. He still has money. For as long as he has money, and if this trial doesn't get him bankrupt, which is highly possible. I don't know what investments he has, but I don't think he is, by the end of all this, he's going to be as rich as you think. Something else that just came through, you guys, I need to tell you this, it's psychic, okay? It's a psychic insight. My guts just told me that not now, but down the line, Diddy is going to turn against one of his lawyers. One of his lawyers, the dream team that helped him. You heard it here first. Tisa tells lies is all people keep saying she doxed Mia and Jane. She did. She did? Uh-oh. By accident, I hope. I hope. I don't know. I hope. I've only watched her through Nancy Grace because I don't follow Nancy Grace, but sometimes she would pop up on my feed and I would watch just to get a recap. And I know Tisa tells from there. And sometimes she pops up on TikTok, but I did not know that she dogs. Did she lie? I don't know. I don't follow her closely. So yeah. All right, you guys, that's it on this fine, beautiful summer Sunday. Well, summer depending on where you live, or winter Sunday if you're in the southern hemisphere. This is always so good. Okay, we have another true crime reading. We are recording this next week with Jamie. Don't forget to watch, well, aside from the aliens that you're all super curious now to watch, but we also put up a video on the Delphi murders. So anyone interested in the Delphi murders, I just posted it, I believe, yesterday. It was posted for the members first. Members always get first dibs, and then I posted it for the rest of you guys. But thank you all for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel. As always, don't forget, you know what? Let me do this because I love it. Poop. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and hit the bell. Hit the bell. Some people have been complaining that they don't get the notification when I go live or when I upload something. It's because you need to hit that bell and click on the all notifications so you know exactly when I'm online, when I'm posting, all of that. YouTube, as we know, can be very premenopausal sometimes, okay, or menopausal sometimes. All right, everybody. Thank you all. Don't forget to check down below for more information if you want to become a member of the Inner Circle. Inner Circle membership is subscription based. It is not related to YouTube, but you get a ton of perks, including discounts on readings, discounts on crystals, emergency readings, emails every week. Very, very interesting emails. A lot of monthly, what I called monthly Zodiac forecast, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one. And if you want to book a reading for September, please book now, people. Book now, because once I come back from my holidays, I get booked up so quickly because it is like the last 3 months of the year and everyone wants their year ahead readings in October, November, December. So just giving you a heads up what is up, because then I'm also stressing because I always want to make time and space for all of you, and sometimes I overdo it and I have to set some boundaries for myself because I always try to please everyone. I was like, please, it's emergent, please, 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 can I have it? I can't wait, whatever. And I always make time, and then you guys is just taking a toll on me. I'm just saying, so can we all just help each other by planning ahead and book your readings now? If you want your year ahead, book now for December if you want, or November. At least it's done. Okay. All right. I love you all. Have a beautiful Sunday. Have a beautiful week ahead. We'll be back next week, and take care of yourselves and enjoy life. Enjoy life. Switch off the TVs, get off your phones. Don't get affected or influenced or feel a certain way with what's happening out there. It's Sunday. Go out, enjoy, be out in nature. I love you guys. Take care. Till next time. Bye.